Well, I'm back at the Wizard here, East Tennessee Pinball. Things didn't turn out quite what I hoped. Went through, cleaned all the switches, uh, went ahead and plugged it in before I put the head on, make sure the score motor was working, and well, the score motor was not working. You can see I've taken it apart. Basically the score motor was locked up. I'm going to show you here in a second ago, there's a bobbin that engages and then tries to turn. It would engage and hear trying to turn. It could not turn because the somewhere in the score motor gears they're frozen up. So I disconnected all that. These were supposed to have two clips. One had a clip and one was soldered on. So I desoldered that and brought it over the bench. Scooch over, Django. So here's the score motor. Originally it had these little, they're not exactly rivets, they're little press fits. Had to drill those out. That enables you to pull this thing apart. It's going to be hard to do one-handed, even though it's already been off once. I may have to set my phone down. I'm going to set it down. There, I've got it broken apart there. Had to have both ends to do that. But then you basically take off these two screws here, and like magic, they're gone, right? That allows you to take this out and get to the bobbin or the spindle, whatever you want to call it. Pull that spring off of there. And basically the problem with this whole thing was this little spindle or bobbin, whatever you want to call it, it was corroded, this little piece here, so it couldn't go in and out. And then if you jammed it in, it would just stick. So basically I chucked this up in a drill. Got some 3M cloth and just spun it like mad. It got that nice, it's kind of dirty looking now. It just got a little 3-in-1 oil, and it's kind of got a little bit of dirt back on there. 3-in-1 oil, if you put enough on there, it will actually clean things too. It'll flush everything out. That's what I was doing. I just kept pouring more and more over there. But basically now the thing, when I put it back together here, I'll show you. Well, apparently my fingers don't work when I have 3-in-1 oil on them. It doesn't operate my phone. Strange problem. Maybe I'll lick them. I cannot stop the video. So there, I've got it put back together. You can see this bobbin's in there, and see when this thing engages, first thing it does is it pulls that bobbin in, and that engages this small little tooth there with the bigger cog, and see, it goes up and down easily. And when it goes up, if I can still hold on to it, it will turn now. Before it was locked solid, it would not turn at all, and it's nice and free. And it was just basically mostly corrosion on this little surface right there, and also a little bit on the inside. So that's all it took, was just taking it apart and cleaning it basically. So don't be afraid. Most of this stuff is pretty basic. It can be a kind of a pain to take it apart. I had to drill those out, and I'll probably just put some pop rivets back in there and put some super lube on these to lube them. There was a little bit of grease, it just kind of dried up. Anyway, that should save it. These are basically the heart of the patient. So if this isn't working, nothing's going to work. So I had to get this going before I went any further. Okay, so I got it back in the machine now. Some of y'all might have noticed in that last clip, I had this thing rotated 180 degrees backwards when I showed it in the last clip. Anyway, so I swapped it around since you last saw it. I've got it in here, the little bobbin. Get it right, you can see it a little bit better here. Turn around here. There's the little bobbin. So when the electricity comes on, it pulls it in, then that engages the gear, and then it turns. So if I press this switch here, it basically forces this thing to run until it gets to the home position, and it's working. Before it would try to engage about halfway, and then it just be leave it like real long, it'd probably burn the motor up. So, and now it's working like it should. So, done the first step of basically half the game. We've gone through all the switches, and oh, I still haven't gone through my units here. I've got to do those units before I put the playfield in, because those are much easier to get to now. So I'll do that, and then I'll get on the playfield.